Well, many people will experience debt at some point in their lives and may turn to debt relief specialists to help them seek relief. Shawn, before we dive into the results of the COVID economy poll, I want to make sure that I understand exactly what we're going to be talking about today. This word, insolvency. We hear it a lot, but I'm not sure that our viewers necessarily know exactly what it means. Can you elaborate for us?
Absolutely. So basically what insolvency means, or to be insolvent, it means to not hold water is actually what the word means. But what we mean in the legal sense is that if you're unable to pay your debts as they become due, so you get a bill coming in, but you don't have enough resources to pay that, that's typically what we would use insolvency as. A second definition of it would be if you were to sell all of your assets, there'd be insufficient equity available to pay what your creditors are.
So when a person looks at their bills and realizes that they have to choose who will be paid or that they will be unable to make all the minimums on the bills, are they then insolvent?
Exactly. And not only are they insolvent, Lindsay, oftentimes what happens is they become segregated and removed from their social group because we don't really have a language game around how to talk about our inability to pay our debts. When we start to speak to someone about, hey, I have difficulty with my finances, what we often think is that's kind of a way that we're trying to ask to get money from them. And really what we need to understand is that lots of people end up in this situation, and that there's people in the community like Bromwich and Smith that are able to assist people to recover from that insolvency. In fact, the poll that we had completed indicated that 22% of Ontarians are looking to explore insolvency legislation in the near future.
Excellent. We're going to talk a little bit more about that poll in just a moment, but I want to mention another word that I think people might be a little more familiar with, and that's bankruptcy. Here's one that I didn't necessarily know, Shawn. What is a consumer proposal?
It's a great question. You know, a consumer proposal is actually the preferred method that most Canadians are using nowadays to restructure their debts. So rather than filing bankruptcy, which is when all of your assets are taken away, or not all of them, but your assets that aren't exempt are taken away and they're sold and given to the creditors, and then there's an attachment to the wage, a consumer proposal is when you meet with a licensed insolvency like Bromwich and Smith, and we figure out what would actually be recovered in a bankruptcy scenario, and then we assist you in filing a proposal that forces a settlement on those creditors that you have, that offers to them a little bit more money than what they would get in a bankruptcy, but less than what is actually owed.
All right. Well, that COVID insolvency poll, I understand that it produced some pretty staggering results regarding the stigma of insolvency. Tell us a little bit more about those results.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. The poll indicated that 26% of the people that were surveyed indicated that those that are unable to pay their debts are lazy. 34% indicated that those that can't pay their debts are selfish. And 53%, if you can believe it, suggested that someone that's unable to pay their debts are irresponsible. Now, why this is so shocking and what's so interesting about this is, as I was mentioning earlier, 22% of these people were also indicating that they were looking to explore insolvency within the near future. And 87% of the people, when pressed, did kind of say, well, I guess we can understand sometimes people just can't pay their bills. And the reality is, Lindsay, with COVID and businesses being shut down, it's very natural that people are in situations where they are insolvent.
And I understand that you are working to sort of normalize conversations like these.
Absolutely, you know, and incidentally, so are you. You know, when we talk about this and we start to gain that normalcy around, this happens to people every day. But if we don't engage in these types of conversations, if we don't make this part of the spirit of our times, that we can say we can recover from this, we end up suffering in darkness. So I commend you and I commend everyone that are willing to turn and face towards this very frightening situation and have the appropriate conversations to get to a better place.
We're in a pandemic. It's a tricky time for a lot of people. What is your message to anyone watching at home right now?
My message is, you're not alone. There is a way out. We have the staff that are available to speak with people 6 days a week. Give my office a call. We can help you figure out not only the situation that you're in, but help you figure out a solution to get you to a better place going forward. Life is entirely too short to give up on the future. And we're going to recover from COVID. And my friends, you're going to recover from your debt as well.
Shawn Stack of Bromwich and Smith, a fascinating and very helpful conversation. Thank you for this.
My pleasure.
This is a paid presentation. Some guests appear on behalf of paid sponsors. Opinions expressed do not constitute advice.